How's it going, everybody? David Medina here. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel before we get into it, and follow me at David Medina PDX across all social media. Now, by now, you have heard me talk about this issue that not just America, but the world faces, which is biological men in women's sports and spaces. And it seems to just keep happening every single day, more and more and more, especially in our home state of Oregon. It's almost like it was bred here. And you're seeing girls miss out on opportunities. You're seeing girls' spaces invaded, even not even sports related, but like in outdoor schools and locker rooms. And man, it's just really erasing women, if we want to just put it bluntly. To further discuss this issue, we are joined by Representative Ed Deal. He's one of the really good ones we have here in Oregon, Republican representative out of House District 17, just outside of the capital city of Salem, Oregon. He's one of the good ones, and he and other Republicans in the House are taking this issue head on and really making me proud to be a Republican, to be honest, the way that they're fighting this for this issue. They are not shying away from it. They're taking it head on. Ed, how are you doing, man?
We are doing great. Good to be with you again, David.
Yeah, man, it's been a long time since we talked. I think the first time you came over to the home studio, and you were supposed to debate Democrat Travis Nelson on the other side of the aisle, and he never showed up. But we had a great podcast, man. That was fun. Got to know you a little bit. Got to know a little bit about what you're about. You were a businessman, kind of got into the game because you were tired of what was going on in our state, and you threw your hat in the ring and you got elected. And your district covers Salem or Turner, Oregon, Almsville, and Staten. District is at 17, right? House District 17.
District 17. So all the way up that Highway 22 corridor through the Santiam Canyon, all the way up through Idana, past Idana. So a lot of great small towns, a big chunk of East Salem as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so, man, you've been killing it in the legislature. I've been really enjoying watching you. I wish we could do this more and talk more. It sounds like we are going to do something in the future as far as like a town hall in maybe Turner, Almsville, something like that in the future. But
I would love to do that. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
man,
get it set up for sure.
For sure, I've been enjoying watching you because you're very to the point. You don't mix words, you don't hold back, and you just kind of just tell things how they are. It's kind of hard to find that in politics these days. And so that's what I appreciate about you, man. And you had this issue, we're dealing with this issue in Oregon, which is men and women's sports. You know, we had Aiden Gallagher and others, other biological males competing and, you know, taking away the opportunities that should be going to biological women in high schools. McDaniel High School in Portland, you had the Leah Rose in I forgot which school he was at, but and you're just having this kind of like epidemic of, you know, women getting pushed out of their sports across America, man. And you're fighting this head on. You and your colleagues are fighting this head on in the legislature. You invited a couple of those girls. We did a video. There was a couple girls that kind of stepped down from the podium to protest at the state championships. Leah Rose on the high jump, and you guys actually invited those girls there. How are you guys tackling this? What can you guys do as the elected leaders of this Republicans of the state? What are you guys doing to fight this? What can you do, and what do you want Oregonians to know about this issue? Because it's getting crazier and crazier.
This is a real issue, and 70% of Oregonians don't agree that boys should be in girls' sports. Sport is divided by biology, by sex. In most sports, and track and field's one of them. You got male sports, you got female sports. Everybody understands it. It's common sense. But the Democrat legislature and the leadership is really defying the will of the people. Mm-hmm. And not only that, they're not willing to give these girls a voice. That's the most frustrating thing for us. So we brought two bills this year. One was based on a bill we brought a year or two ago. And then another one is a bill that Christine Drazen introduced. Both of them, the main core of it is to keep boys out of girls' sports. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And we could not get a hearing. They denied us the opportunity for these girls to speak in a public forum about why this is wrong and how they feel. They were denied.
And they even called it a political stunt. Is that correct? The Democrats called it a political stunt for you guys bringing the girls inside the chamber to be there. To be
so here's how it goes.
Mhm.
We have a bill. We want it to go through the normal process, have a public hearing.
Yeah.
They deny it a hearing. They deny both of them a hearing. So what we did yesterday is we said there's one thing that we can do. We can force them to vote on it on the floor. So we had a bunch of these girls show up with their parents, family members, and then we had a lot of women and girls sit with us on the floor of the House. And we did courtesies. It's something that you do at the beginning of every floor session. You give courtesies. It's kind of a shout out. It's a shout out to somebody there. I gave a shout out to Reese Eckert, one of the two girls that had the courage to step down from that podium because they do not want to compete with males. And so she was there. It was great to honor her and recognize her. So I did that. So a number of us gave courtesies like that. And it was amazing. It was amazing to watch. We had Democrats just stomp off the floor during this process. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the session, we have an opportunity to give remonstrances. So remonstrances is a 3-minute period where you can say whatever you want, basically. And the several of the Democrat legislators, after voting this bill down, they united in voting this bill down to separate sport by biology. And so what they did is gave us a lecture. Yeah,
I saw that.
And how this was not worthy of a public hearing, that we were being mean, we were being cruel. When I say we, the legislators and these girls. One legislator even said that we were obsessed with genitals. Now you tell me this, if my granddaughter doesn't want to have a man watch her undress in the locker room, is she obsessed with genitals? Because that's what this legislator said.
Ed, we have a clip of what you were just talking about real quick. We're going to play it right now.
Reese has been high jumping since the 5th grade. She recently placed 4th at the Oregon State Track and Field Championships last week. You may know Reese because she's one of the brave young women who's quietly, confidently, and respectfully taken a stand for fairness in women's sports. At the state championships, she refused to stand on the podium with a male athlete who had unfairly competed with the females. Reese, I want to thank you for your courage and for standing up for the truth and for Title IX, the federal law which is supposed to protect you from that kind of discrimination. And I understand that one of the reasons you've decided to step up is to make sure that your 2 younger sisters have their rightful opportunity to compete fairly in sport. I commend you for taking a stand for fairness in women's sports. Thank you for being here and for giving me the honor of recognizing you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
Why do you think Democrats in the left are so obsessed with this issue where they're not even willing to have a debate about it? They're not willing to have a discussion about it. I know how they feel about the transgender community. I know that angle, but when it comes to, it seems like they just completely ignore the biological women side of it. Like they don't even want to hear from them. Why are they so obsessed with this to where they're just ignoring real women? What do you think the issue is here?
You know, I don't exactly know why they're even unwilling to give it a public hearing and talk about it in public. I think they know that the side they're on is wildly unpopular. So I think that's part of it. They don't want to talk about it in public. One of the legislators actually stood up and said this should not be discussed in a public hearing. I was like, what the hell? When are you supposed to talk about it? You've made this a political issue, and then you refuse to talk about it in a political setting. And these girls are frustrated.
Yeah.
And what's going on is the Democrats are shaming them in public. They're calling them, you are the ones that are intolerant. You are the ones that are cruel and mean. They're telling them, in other words, you shut up. We don't want you to speak. And it's outrageous. It is outrageous.
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
Ed, I'll say this. Christine Drazen made a comment on the floor, and I respect what she's doing. I respect her knowledge in politics. I used to have a really big problem with Christine Drazen, but as I've learned about politics over the years, I get it. I get why she makes some of the decisions she does and says some of the same things she says. I thought there was a little bit of an issue with when she said, I recognize that transgender, when she said on the floor during her speech, she said, I recognize that transgender athletes should be able to compete. I recognize that they should be able to play in sports. Well, I was thinking to myself, well, then what do you mean though by that? What do you think she means by that? Maybe maybe you've talked to her. What is she talking about? Like, cause what's the solution there? Like what does she mean by creating their own league? Because to me, when you say something like that, you're affirming the issue, which is that women can be erased and a man can just become a woman just because he says he is. And so I'm not, maybe you can clear that up, because I know I had a lot of people ask me about that. Like, what does she mean by that?
I'll have to ask her. I don't know what she meant by that. I can tell you how I see it. Mm-hmm. and I can also tell you what one of the other things being tossed around is, but I see it, what we've done forever, which is you divide sport by biology. You have male sport, you have female sport. Yes, in some cases you have co-ed sport.
Yeah.
But you divide it by biology. That worked fine up until about 10 minutes ago. So let's just get back to that. Now, some people have talked about having a third category, a transgender category,
which they'll never go for. They'll never go for that. The left in the transgender community will never go for that.
I don't think that. I really don't think that will fly. Anyway, so yeah, what I'm encouraging, let's just do it by biology.
Yeah.
We've done it for a long time. It works. It's practical. It's common sense.
Yeah. I think you guys are doing the right thing, Ed. I think you guys are fighting this the right way. I think Christine Drazen, when she initially took this on, I commended her for that. I love that you guys are taking this on. And it's a fight that's worth fighting for women, for real women and girls like Reese Eckerd and the girl from Tigard. And so let's talk about the bigger picture real quick with this whole issue, because as we all know, President Trump has issued executive orders recognizing male and female and telling states, hey, we're going to pull your federal funding if you continue to allow men in women's sports. Oregon relies pretty heavily on federal funds, and this would cripple us. And it seems like the Democrats here in Oregon do not care, and they're willing to, I guess, gamble with Oregon's well-being and the well-being of families over this issue. Can you explain to us what's going on there, the bigger picture here?
It's wild. They're doubling down. And so we have our Attorney General, Dan Rayfield. He's turned into a litigation machine. He has a website for all the litigation he's bringing against the Trump administration. And so when the feds come down and tell us, hey, you're in violation of Title IX, Title IX offers protection for these girls in sport.
Yeah.
That's part of why it exists, right? So we have systems that don't discriminate based on sex. Yeah. Now, the Biden administration tried to redefine what the word sex meant. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, common sense prevailed, biology and science prevailed, and we got it back to what the original meaning is. Mm-hmm. And I have legal opinions from our own legal counsel in the Capitol, and they have told me, yes, Oregon is in violation of Title IX. We know it.
Yeah.
We have been in contact. We wrote another letter to the feds yesterday, expressing we're concerned Oregon's in violation of Title IX. We want you to take action. We heard back from Harmeet Dillon's office. Mm-hmm. Within hours, we got a letter back. So we're going to have a meeting with them. Representative Yunker and I will be meeting with the Office of Civil Rights, talking about this issue. My view is the hammer's coming down on Oregon. They know that these girls deserve justice and deserve to be heard.
Yeah.
Their values do matter. I'm still blown away that the gaslighting that went on the floor yesterday, telling these girls that, It's only compassion, but only if you agree with them. And if you disagree, you're suddenly the villain. You're a bully. Telling these young girls that they're the bullies.
Yeah.
They're the bullies. It's
Yeah.
outrageous.
And like I said, this whole men and women's sports, I made this point yesterday. It's a symptom of the bigger problem, which is the whole transgender problem. And I want to say this in a way because, as you know, we're both Christians, Ed, and we love people. We don't think we're above people. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but as a Christian, we don't even believe that we're above transgender people, other than we're just saved by the blood of Jesus and we believe in him. And that's what, ultimately saves us. But, they make it into this such thing, like, just because you deny our belief here, you hate us, couldn't be further from the truth. But also it's destructive to society. And that's why I say, if we need to get to the root of the problem, which is, men allowing themselves to just say, I'm a woman, and then taking over women's spaces. And by saying, hey, we think transgender should they have the right to compete, that's saying they have a right to the problem in the first place. And so I don't know where we go with this. The bigger issue, do you think Trump will pull the funding?
Yes, I think he will.
And what will happen in Oregon?
This is pretty egregious. So I think we will see education funding pulled. He's also reached out to the Department of Transportation, saying basically eliminate your DEI programs. Mm-hmm. That's one of their top 3 goals.
Yeah.
So it's almost every agency, the same issues going on with healthcare. Yeah. We cannot use Medicaid funding for these procedures. Mm-hmm. So we are at risk of losing billions of dollars.
And what will that do to Oregon?
Oh, it'll devastate Oregon. We won't be able to function without those dollars. So I think that we'll be forced to change, but it's going to be a fight.
Yeah. Let's real quick to end here. Let's fast forward to 2026. What is your guys' strategy? I see you guys have created a podcast, the Oregon Doge. I love that. It's so funny because Republicans in the Capitol criticize me. People that I won't name names, they know who they are, criticized me 5-6 years ago for having a podcast and trying to do political work through the internet. And it's like the same people are now having a podcast. I love it. I'm like, finally you guys listened. Finally you guys are here. I love it. You guys are pumping out some great stuff. And, my guy sends me clips. I'm like, dude, this is nice. It's well produced. It seems like you guys are really trying to do focus on outreach. But I have to ask, how did Oregon go more blue in 2024? There's now a supermajority. For those of you not politically savvy, maybe you don't know what that means. It just basically means the Oregon Democrats now have the supermajority in the, correct me if I'm wrong, the House and the Senate, meaning they can push any bill through. You guys don't even have to show up for them to push bills through. And that went from, it was a supermajority in 2020, 2022. I think it just got down to the majority. So now there had to be quorum. Now it's back to the supermajority. How did Oregon go more blue in 2024? What are we doing wrong, Ed?
Well, let me make one correction there. They aren't a supermajority. And what that means is 3/5 majority, 36 votes. It takes 36 to pass a tax. So in the House.
Okay.
So they have that supermajority on the House side, and they have it on the Senate side.
Okay.
We can still deny quorum. Quorum is 40 in the House, so we could still deny quorum. But yes, we lost seats. We lost a House District 22 by about 168 votes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's that close.
Yeah.
And the reason why, I think they beat us on the ground game. I know they beat us despite some great local efforts to get the vote out in Tracy Kramer's district. They had a better ground game than we did. I know that. And then I just look at the numbers, and I know our election system has problems. Our problem is we can't fix it until we're in a position to do it. And I look at the thousands and thousands of Republicans that didn't vote. Yeah. I look at all the hundreds of thousands of NAVs that didn't vote. And we know that 150 or so thousand NAVs are conservative minded.
Yeah.
They're just not voting.
So what do we have to do? Because this has been a problem for a while, and it seems like it's just we keep talking about it. And at some point, you know, a team has to look at themselves and say, what are we not doing or doing wrong? I don't think, you know, the podcast is great. The Oregon Doge is great. I think that's you guys are along the, you guys are on the right track, but there's so much more that needs to happen. There is, you know, like Senator Bonham and I disagreed where I think there's a big disconnect between you guys in the Capitol and a lot of the grassroots in Oregon. He doesn't think it's that big. I think that's one of the issues, but like, you know, and it's uncomfortable to talk about this kind of stuff sometimes, Ed, but it's like, how much more are we going to see Oregon suffer before we figure this out? What do we need to do?
I do see that divide, and I do see we need to give those conservatives that aren't voting a reason to vote. And it's not running away from our conservative values.
Yeah.
It's embracing those values and communicating in a way that engages people.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons. So I've started an organization with some of my colleagues called Oregon Freedom Coalition, OregonFreedom.com. And I'd encourage your viewers to go there and take a look at what we're about. Mm-hmm. But one of our main goals is to reach out to those voters that are not currently engaged. We saw that across the country. Turning Point was a big player in that, to reach out to those conservative voters that and get them to vote, some of them for the first time. Yeah. We have that opportunity in Oregon. We just didn't do it. Yeah. So Lincoln Cazares with Turning Point, he works in Oregon doing outreach to high schools. He's on our board of directors for Oregon Freedom Coalition. Will Lathrop's on our board. We've got some great legislators with us. We are committed to building that grassroots machine that helps get that vote out, and unites us, caucus, and conservatives across the state. So I am committed to that. I'd love to talk to you more about that, actually.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it's going to take. And I envision a massive grassroots organization that we're building a machine. Yeah. We build a machine that can compete with the progressive machine on the left that is running roughshod over this state. We saw it yesterday. Mm-hmm. You have a 70-30 issue. You have an issue that Oregonians overwhelmingly are on our side. We can't even get a damn public hearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason is they're scared of their progressive base. And we have an opportunity to fix that. And Oregon Freedom Coalition is a step in that direction.
Representative Ed Deal out of Oregon House District 17 is with us. He's just been killing it in Salem, and he's one of the many good ones we have fighting for us. One of the elected Republicans we have fighting for us against this nonsense that we're dealing with in Oregon. Ed, tell people how they can find you, your website, maybe the coalition's website, all that kind of stuff. How can people find you and follow you?
Yeah, so if you go to OregonFreedomCoalition.com, or OregonFreedom.com, I'm sorry, sign up for our newsletter there. You can support that effort. You can also find me on X if you look up Real Ed Deal. I'm also on Facebook if you look that up. Those are great places to catch up with me and follow me on social media.
Awesome, man. Well, tell everybody in the legislature that we're behind them. I am encouraging my platforms, my followers to rally behind both Republicans in both chambers, and let's really come together and let's start chipping away at this, man. It's not going to happen in one cycle, but we can start chipping away if we all start working together. And I really appreciate you guys fighting this whole men and women's sports and fairness for women. I love that you guys are taking this on, man. And it was one of those things where a lot of people thought that maybe you guys weren't, but you guys stepped to the plate, man. We love that. It's a great sign for Oregon, man. So thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll catch up eventually, man. And it's great. Always great talking to you, brother.
Hey, you too, David. Thank you. Thank you for the time.